Welcome back. It is Thursday, February 29th in the NBA. My four best bets are on the way. It is leap day. Let's make the most of it. Let's go 4-0. But first, we got to do a recap of yesterday. The ball did not bounce our way. Going to be transparent with you. It was the 1-3 day. We've had a really good run over the past month. We're going to have some bad days thrown in here, and let's hopefully bounce back after this bad day. But let's talk about how our picks did yesterday. Like I said, 1-3. Our only winner really hardly was a winner. Tyrese Halliburton barely went over, ended with 30. We needed 29.5. I know a lot of people lost on the hook there. Painful. Now our other picks, Logan's pick of the day, Raptors plus 3.5. They just did not come through. We'll allow it. The Raptors have been treating us nicely over the past few weeks with Logan's picks. Also, Jamal Murray's under, just painful. I mean, the last two unders with him and then yesterday, Cade Cunningham take it under, and the guys just shoot ridiculously well from the field. I mean, Jamal Murray went 13 of 15. Sometimes you just have to tip your hat and say, whatever. You made shots, and that's kind of how it goes. And like yesterday, just the ball didn't bounce our way. And then the last one, the ball definitely didn't bounce our way with Kobe White of the ladder challenge we needed on day one. Just painful. We lost by one Kobe White point. If you know, you know. He scored 14. We needed 15. Shot 5 of 20. 2 for 13 from the field. And he even went into double overtime, played 50 minutes. There's nothing I can do there. I would run back the ladder challenge today, but I got to take a day off after that garbage because that was just absolutely nuts. But we're going to move on to today. Like I said, the ball's going to bounce your way in the NBA. Sometimes it will. Sometimes it won't. Yesterday was one of those cases where, it didn't. We can only ask for Kobe White to shoot 20 times. And heck, if you told me Murray only shot 15 times, I would say, heck yeah, we're probably in a good spot. But that's just kind of how it goes. It's the NBA. There's a lot of variance. And heck, when baseball season comes around, there's a lot of variance in that sport too. But without further ado, let's dive into today's picks. I do want to say one quick side note that we did on our second channel post our first New Zealand vlog. So a lot of different cool things in there. We did some skydiving. We did a really cool cruise in through some sounds and stuff. You definitely want to go check it out if you can. Show the second channel some love. I'll put the link to the video at the top of the description. I'm going to be rolling out a new video of our travels each week over the next week, every single Wednesday. So go check out that video. Definitely show it some love. I think you really will enjoy it. And as a matter of fact, we're still obviously traveling, still doing these videos. Probably by the time these games tip off, I'll actually be scuba diving the Great Barrier Reef. Insane that I'll be scuba diving it, but it should be pretty cool. So I actually probably won't know how any of our picks turn out until I get off that boat because it's like a 2-hour boat ride out and then 2 hours back. And right now we're in Australia where the games tip off right around, I think 7 p.m. is about 10 a.m. our time. So I'm going to be on that boat. We'll see how it goes. Hopefully we go 4-0. But you guys came for some picks. Enough of the jibber jabbering. Let's dive into the picks. So today, the first one is a system play. This guy that respected our money the last time we took is over. And it is Giannis Antetokounmpo, the Greek freak, over 27.5 points, minus 115 on DraftKings. Now, this is a system play in the sense that, look, if you give me a Giannis line at 27.5, I don't really care who he's playing. I'm going to probably take it more often than not. And I'm going to live with the results because we know Giannis can score 30 points against anyone in the NBA. Regardless of defense, it's Giannis Antetokounmpo, the Greek freak. He can do his thing, especially if Chris Middleton is out or heck, Damian Lillard was out. But obviously we have Chris Middleton once again out here, and I think this is just a spot where Giannis is going to do his thing. Now, obviously, you look at his track record against the Hornets this year, not the greatest. In fact, we'll talk about that in a second, but I just think this is a good spot for him. Now, the Bucks and Hornets obviously just faced off. The Bucks won that game by 38 points. They're up by 50 going into the fourth quarter. Obviously, Giannis did not come through. He had 24 points in 24 minutes, 8 for 13 from the field. Dame was cooking too, but at the end of the day, I mean, if this game's even remotely close, I think Giannis will clear this line. And the Hornets, honestly, they got to keep one of these games close this season because they played the Bucks 3 times this year. They've lost by 31, 36, and 38 points. They're coming back home here, just getting smoked by a team. I can understand where, hey, you play them once, and then maybe a few weeks later you play them, or a month or two later you get smoked again. You just lost, but you were down 50. Basically, I mean, you got to be a little bit better than that. And if they can keep this game close-ish, I'm not even saying win this game. Not even saying keep it close and keep the game within 10, 15, 20 points. Giannis probably plays 30, 33 minutes. I really think this is just a spot that we got to take him. I mean, he's averaging 30.7 points per game this year. He's over this line in 63% of games. He is under in all 3 games against the Hornets this year. Yeah, but they've also blown them out by 30 plus points in each of them. I'm just hopeful that the Hornets can keep it close. And even if they don't, I still do think there's a chance. If they keep it even closer than 30, Giannis could easily go over this line. They just don't have an answer for him, honestly. And they've been doing a pretty good job against guards, but I just don't think they have an answer for Giannis. If he's driving to the hoop, he should be able to score at will. So, Greek Freak, we're getting freaky tonight. We're taking us over in points. Now, Logan, I'm going to throw it to him. He's got another spread pick for you, and I really like the pick he's got for you today. So, Logan, take it away.
I'm getting back in the win column with my spread pick today. I'm out for revenge. I'm going with the Jazz plus 5.5 as my best bet. Minus 110 odds. on BetMGM, currently your best value there. Now, surface level, you're looking at this, you're like, Logan, I fast forward to this part of the video. This is a pretty nasty spread. Why am I betting on this? Well, I want to be on the sharper side of this line because I actually do think Jazz plus 5.5 is a pretty sharp play. If you know my baseball philosophy, all you have to do is watch our MLB videos this season. You'll see I like to be on the sharper side. If a bet looks painfully obvious, I normally stay away. Orlando minus 5.5 or -5, whatever the line you get, that looks pretty dang square. It looks pretty easy on this one. You look at the Jazz, recency bias, right? The Jazz just lost as 2-point dogs to the Hawks by 27. Wasn't even competitive. It's really easy to overreact to that game, but nothing went right for Utah in that game. Utah only shot 29% from three in that game and gave up 28 points off turnovers. You're not going to win many NBA games shooting at that poorly and giving up points off turnover. They really do look to bounce back in this spot, and I think they actually will. Now you're saying, Logan, road Jazz, I can't back them. Well, when these two teams played back in November, Orlando won by 2 in Utah. So it was a close game in Utah. I understand that the Jazz are not the best team on the road and only 3-7 in their last 10 games. This Jazz team is easily overlooked in this spot, and that's where the value lies to me betting them. I like to bet teams that are overlooked. And in a tight game, let's just say tight game scenario, 5.5 points, laying 5.5 points with a terrible free throw shooting team like Orlando, they're 28th in the league, could leave the back door open to some cover potential. We've seen it. All you have to do is bet NBA all year long, and you'll understand the backdoor cover is a real thing. You'll be looking at a bet all day. You'll think it's an easy win, and then the team sneaks in the back door. The Utah Jazz easily could do that for us. Down 8, hit a 3, win on the hook. If that's how it happens, I'm from the future. But Utah's glaring weakness is defense, and I'd argue Orlando's weakness is offense. So kind of contrast of styles here. The question is, how are we getting to the Utah plus 5.5? Because I promise I did not close my eyes and throw a dart at this one. Defensively, Orlando is solid, but only averaging 111 points per game. Utah can keep this game close with near their season average shooting. This is a pretty good shooting offense. Utah also third in rebounding. Orlando 21st by comparison. A huge edge to Utah on the glass, and that could lead to second chance points. Unfortunately, our Raptors pick did not hit yesterday, and they just couldn't grab rebounds. It was really frustrating to watch. And if Utah is able to grab rebounds in this game, I really do like their chances to keep this one competitive. Utah had a very balanced attack in their first matchup when these two teams faced. Lauri Markkanen had 22, John Collins had 20, Clarkson had 21. The Magic, on the other hand, had 30 from Paolo Banchero on a super efficient 9 for 13. He shot the lights out in that one. Banchero, in this game time decision with an illness. Even if he does play, I'm assuming he's going to play because when I pick these games, I assume worst case scenario for our bet. Worst case scenario is that he plays. I would love if he didn't play. But even if he does play, he still might not be 100% himself. You can't tell me that coming off an illness, missing some time like that you're going to be as sharp and efficient as he was in that previous matchup. I just don't see it happening. And the Magic, they go as Banchero and Franz Wagner go. If they don't get production from those two, Utah wins this game outright. I'm telling you right now, if either of those two are not super efficient, Utah can win this game outright because they simply have the offense to do so. I like the Jazz in this backs against the wall spot. Look, they've been terrible. They've been it's been pretty atrocious to watch. No sugarcoating it there. But backs against the wall to stop the skid. I like them to play competitive in Orlando, and I just think they have the offensive capability to cover the spread for us. And I think Orlando is one of those teams that, they're laying a big number, but we got to remember their identity. Their identity is defense. They just sometimes luck into offense. I think Utah has the offensive capabilities to really come out and cover this 5.5 spread. I think 5.5 is too much. I think once again we could overlook this game and overlook the most recency bias with Orlando blowing out Brooklyn. In that 6.5 point spread. Utah Jazz are going to come through with us. Like it or hate it, fade or tail, I don't really care. Utah Jazz is the pick today.
Hey, I really like the Jazz plus 6.5. He was talking about 5.5. I could find 6.5, so I gave out whatever the better line was, but I really like that pick. Now, let's move on and let's talk about this other pick. Then I'm actually going to stay in the same game as Logan because I'm going to help him out here. At least, hopefully, we kill two birds with one stone because I really like Colin Sexton tonight over 22.5 points plus assists, minus 115 on DraftKings. Now, it's worth noting a couple books did have his line at 23.5. I would probably prefer to take his over at 17.5 points than the 23.5 points plus assists. Obviously, they kind of go hand in hand. I looked at his PR line, which is like 19.5, but Sexton sometimes a guy that grabs like 0 or 1 rebound. So I'd rather just go with the points plus assists. Not the best matchup for assists, but there is a good chance that Sexton could get a 6, 7, 8, maybe even have a lucky game of like 9 or 10 assists. We're going to easily cash here. Now, obviously, we just backed Sexton yesterday, and I don't normally pick in the same game as Logan because if it is a blowout in our wrong direction, probably going to lose 2 units there. But I'm confident that the Jazz can keep it close, and hopefully it's Sexton doing a lot of the work for him. And like I said, Sexton's been really good. And let's just talk about the last 7 games, which have all been post-trade deadline. Sexton's been really good at 27, 27, 21, 44, 22, 26, and 25 points plus assists. So he's gone over in 5 of 7 since the trade deadline when they traded away some guys. And all of his 2 misses, he ended with 21 and 22. So real close to that line. He's also played 24 plus minutes in 13 straight games. So he's playing a lot of minutes, which was always a concern with Sexton. You're like, oh, is this guy going to get yanked at like 18 minutes, never come back? He had some of those games back then, but they've kind of been playing him more consistently, and he has the chance to get up to the 28, 30 minutes if he's playing really well. But I just think this is a spot where we can trust Sexton. Like I said, the last 7 games, number 1 on the team in potential assists at a little over 10.7, a little bit more than Jordan Clarkson and Keontae George. But recent guards have had some success for Orlando. Now, obviously, Orlando, a really good defensive team, but we've seen guards like DeJounte Murray at 25 and 11, Cade Cunningham 26 and 4, even Garland, who only shot 12 times, he had 18 and 10. So I really think this is a spot where Sexton could get this over in just points alone. We've seen him do that, but I just think he'll have some open opportunities for his teammates if he wants to kick it out to them, for them to knock down some shots too. Now, it's worth noting Walker Kessler could be out of this game, questionable right now. I don't really care if he's in or out. If he's out, we probably get another shooter on the floor. So obviously we'll open up the spacing, and maybe they want to convert on Sexton when he's driving. He can kick it out to one of those guys. But I just think this is a good spot to back Sexton. So hopefully he's not only scoring, dishing it to his teammates, gets us the 22.5 points plus assists, but hopefully he's helping out Logan as well. We don't need another blowout in a Jazz game. I really like Sexton the other night. I really like his over in points plus assists. You could just take his points if you need an individual line, because obviously we're going to need at least 15 to 16 points. But my fourth and final pick of the day, like I said, probably going to end here. Not going to add any plays. I'm going to go off the bed right after I post this video. It's going to actually be a 3-pointer prop. I have not taken a lot of them this season, and I saved this pick for last, not because I think it is my least favorite pick of the ones we have today. Heck, it might be my favorite one. Problem is, I really do think this line's going to change a little bit, and that might kind of deter me from advising you as to play it. But let's talk about Stephen Curry, the guy in the thumbnail. I'm taking his over and 3-pointers made. I'm taking him for 5 plus 3s. Now on the screen, you see 5 plus 3s. That is the same thing as the over 4.5 threes. However, the over 4.5 was actually worse value than the 5 plus 3s. The difference was minus 125 versus minus 130 on FanDuel. So obviously take a peek at that. They are the same exact bet. So if you can find an edge there, obviously we're going to save ourselves a couple dollars if we're going to play it there. Now, Steph Curry has been in a little bit of a slump here, but he's going to break out of it tonight against the Knicks in Madison Square Garden. Now, you look at Steph, he's obviously been firing up a ton of threes, and they're getting a little bit healthier. Andrew Wiggins is out due to personal reasons, but Chris Paul returned last game. And we like CP3 because obviously it takes some of the playmaking abilities out of Steph, and instead we're running some plays for Steph, because last game, 4 for 16 from 3. You told me Steph Curry shot 16 threes tonight, and you said, hey, 16 threes, he's shooting that, we're probably putting 5 units on this, because this is the best 3-point shooter in NBA history. We'll take our chance with him making 5 of 16. But obviously, he didn't get it going last game. I think he was like 0 for 7 from 3. But let's talk about Steph. Last 17 games, hit this over in 10 of 17. So decent hit rate. Averaged nearly 6 threes in those games, but also 13.4 attempts per game. He's shooting a ton of threes. And the Knicks are a team that pack the paint and make you beat them from the outside. And they've really been struggling. The last 10 games, the Knicks, they're 4th most 3-pointers allowed in the NBA. So they're giving up a lot of threes, and heck, that's kind of what Steph Curry is known for doing. And he's also had a great track record of doing good things in Madison Square Garden. We know players and teams like to step it up a little bit more in MSG, and Steph has been that. He kind of broke onto the scene in the NBA, dropping 54 in 2013 versus the Knicks. He also broke the NBA record for 3-pointers ever in a career in Madison Square Garden as well. And so we look at Steph when he's played in MSG, which he hasn't done since 2021. He's typically played well. His last 9 games at New York, 5 threes in 7 of 9, averaged only 11 threes in those games, attempted threes, where he's averaging a little bit more than that. And he's over in 3 straight with 6, 7, and 5 3-pointers. Greatest shooter on earth. I will take my chances with him knocking down 5. I would never take an over 4.5 threes for anyone else that is not Stephen Curry. So we will roll with him. I really think he's got a good chance. I would play it to about minus 145. Personally, I think the line should be honestly 5.5. If we're being honest, I think it should be 5.5 for about plus 110, plus 115. I'll take my chance with Steph Curry knocking down 5 trays tonight. So those are my 4 favorite picks of the day. We're rolling with Sexton. We're rolling with the Jazz on the spread. We're rolling with Steph Curry. And then our final pick, no unders today, is Giannis, the Greek Freaks, over in points. Those are my 4 favorite picks of the day. You guys have a wonderful day. And hopefully we come back tomorrow with a broom, knock off that weirdo slate from yesterday and just move on. Ladder should probably return tomorrow, but stay tuned for that. We're just having these 4 picks today. You guys have a wonderful day, a wonderful leap day, and I'll see you guys back again tomorrow in March. I'll see you then. Peace.